What's good, y'all? It's your boy Shane Hector coming at you live from WBGR Studio. No BS, no holds barred sports talk show is back in the building. And I'm with my co-host, Mr. Unregulated. We are back. In full effect. Folks, me and this man, we got some things to talk about with y'all today. Because an unprecedented event has occurred in sports.
Really, Shane? What is it?
The number to call is going to be 301-429-9247. That's going to be the number to call. First things first. Mr. Unregulated. You said this before. I didn't want to admit it. So this dude, OBJ, clearly just became the highest paid wide receiver. You said it before. I didn't want to believe it because I didn't think he should get that kind of money, but he did.
Yeah.
$95 million.
65 guaranteed.
Yeah, I know.
The 95 don't mean nothing. The guaranteed, that 65 is guaranteed. You got that.
That is just utterly disgusting. Why? Okay. Look, I get it, right? I get it. You had to pay the man. Okay, the only other wide receiver in the league that ever got that much money, if I recall correctly, was Megatron. That was because he had that 7-year, $132 million deal. Mm-hmm. But obviously Megatron retired. He's no longer in the NFL. He made his money. But it's just, I get it from the Giants' perspective. He had 3 consecutive seasons of over 1,400 plus yards, and then you fast forward now, you know, he got hurt last year, and it's like, okay, he got hurt, he's gonna come back healthy. Can OBJ get this team to the playoffs?
No, absolutely not.
Thank you. My point.
The bottom line is he got paid for what? The one thing everybody remembers about him is that it's the catch.
Yeah,
it's the catch.
Right.
You know, it seems like everybody's doing that now after he's done it. But just to be fair to him, you know, you have receivers like Antonio Brown, $17 million a year.
Right.
Mike Evans from the Bucks, you know, $16 million. DeAndre Hopkins, $16 million. Brandon Cook, $16 million. So why shouldn't OBJ be up there? I mean, you talking Brandon Cook? I mean, Mike Evans? I mean, to me, those receivers are mediocre. I mean...
Ooh, I wouldn't say that Brandon Cooks is mediocre. I would definitely not say that. I mean, when he was with the Saints, he was frying with the Saints. He fried with New England. New England just got rid of him because they didn't want to pay him. So let's be honest about it. That's just what it comes down to. Now, and then he goes to the Rams. I'm sure he's going to light it up with Jared Goff. So that offense is going to be explosive this season. And with Mike Evans... The only reason why Mike Evans is not doing as great as he should be is because of who his quarterback is. Jameis Winston, he's just not... To me, I've already come to realize this about him. Because of his attitude problem, he's not going to be that guy.
Well, you just... That's the point. Because of who his quarterback was, that's why his numbers are not like that. But let's back up. Brandon Cook. Mm-hmm. Who was his quarterback?
Drew Brees. And then he had Tom Brady.
So that's why his numbers were great.
That's true. But still, you still got to remember, receivers are only going to be as great as who their quarterback is. That's what I always tell people. They can be phenomenal unless, you know, whatever quarterback they have just keeps forcing them the ball. Other than that, they're only going to be as great as their quarterback is. I love Jerry Rice to death, but Jerry Rice also had Joe Montana throughout most of his career. Then he goes on to Steve Young, who also happens to be who's a great quarterback. Then, after that, who did he go to after that? Rich Gannon. So, it's like...
Shane.
I'm not saying that Jerry Rice wasn't great. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to mess with Jerry Rice. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think Joe Montana is a great quarterback, right?
Right.
Steve Young is a great quarterback. But without Jerry Rice...
I mean,
how great would they be?
Okay, first off, Joe Montana won rings before Jerry Rice got there, so that's why it's like you can't say that Joe Montana wasn't great before Jerry Rice got there. He won rings without him. So
you had a defense. You had Ronnie Lattingham, backing him up.
Oh yeah,
and then you had Roger Craig. But I mean, we've seen Flacco, what Flacco can do, by just managing the team.
Okay.
And with a good defense. So don't want to take anything away from Joe Montana, but I'm saying this: Joe Montana could have won those Super Bowls because of the system and because of the team that surrounded him. But when Jerry Rice came, and you talk about Joe Montana, and you talk about Joe Montana highlights, one highlight besides the Dwight highlight in the back of the end zone.
Oh yeah,
every
Dwight
highlight,
Clark. The late Dwight Clark.
Dwight Clark. Every highlight is Joe Montana catching a 10-yard hook and taking it to the house. A post. Joe Montana is great. Don't get me wrong, people. But Jerry Rice, I'm saying he made Joe Montana. He made Steve Young. There you go. I said it. And that's what I believe. If you believe what I believe and you can see it the way I see it, let me hear about it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Again, folks, the number to call is 301-429-9247. So I'm looking at Brian Snow. He just said Montana's the greatest of all time. Nobody, not even Brady, can mess with him. I'm like, I don't know about that. The difference, it's a different time. First off, the rules were a lot different back then, and on top of that, it was all about the defense back then. And on top of that, Joe Montana had one of, if not the greatest wide receiver of all time. So that's just what that comes down to. Brady has been to the Super Bowl with a bunch of bums. Half the guys that he had receivers, the only great receiver he really had was Randy Moss, and they lost the Super Bowl. They went we went 16-0,
yeah,
and lost the Super Bowl. And that wasn't really Brady's fault. It was mainly his offensive line not showing up in the Super Bowl. That's what that came down to. But at the end of the day, it looks like somebody's online. Caller, you live.
This is Brian Snow speaking, and you made me angry.
Well, go ahead, sir. Let's talk about it. Because we.
I just happened to hop on while I'm prepping for my football broadcast, and I saw you guys were talking about Mr. Montana.
Yeah.
I decided to have a little fun with it.
Okay. Look, you have to look at it like this. OBJ is only as good as his quarterback is. Eli won 2 rings. Brady has been to the Super Bowl with a bunch of nobodies.
I hate to inform you this, but Montana's won 4, and he's had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 great receivers.
Exactly the point. So to say that Montana is better than Brady is even more disrespectful.
Name the receiver.
Yeah, Montana's better than Brady.
What receivers did he have besides Jerry Rice?
Wait, what was your question again? I didn't hear you.
What are the receivers that he had besides Jerry Rice?
Who did he have besides Jerry Rice? Do we really have time to go through that list?
No, I want you to say it, because then I want to show you that without Jerry Rice being on the field, those receivers have been great.
You know something? I love Jerry Rice. I will be the first to tell you that he's the greatest receiver of all time, and not only did he make Montana better, he made Steve Young better. But I'm going to throw a name out there that made them both better as well, and it ain't Dwight Clark. Does the name John Taylor mean anything to you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is what a lot of people don't realize, and I've started a campaign on my show, Snowman in the Morning, for John Taylor being in the Hall of Fame. John Taylor, when he was drafted by the 49ers, was drafted as a punt returner, which gave him, most of the breakaway touchdown speed that he has. To your point of Flacco being a good game manager, he is a good game manager, and yet he's had some receivers with him, including I want to say Torrey Smith.
Yeah.
I may have got that wrong. Anquan Bolden as well. And yes, Flacco won a ring with those receivers. Here's my point. Montana repeated the process several times over.
Yeah, I get your point. But, my argument is this. If you take away Jerry Rice, and then you take away 82, who you just named, and you take away Roger Craig, who is Joe Montana?
Right.
Who is he?
Okay.
Now,
You want to go there?
No, I don't. No.
I had to go there with a history lesson with a friend of mine this morning, and I do this in fun. Who was Joe Montana before Jerry Rice, before John Taylor, before Roger Craig? Dwight Clark, Freddie Solomon, Amos Lawrence. A standout defense with Ronnie Lott. And Ronnie Lott was the captain of that defense before they got their 80s defense. And I'm talking Charles Haley, Michael Carter, some of the names. He was there for a little bit. But if you want to point to the game where Montana didn't have anybody and he made his name, I want you to look this date up. December 7th, 1980. Down 35-7 to a winless Saints team. He brought them all the way back and won it in overtime on the leg of Ray Warshing. 38-35 was the final score.
Well, you know what? I give credit to him for doing that, but Babe Laufenberg done it too. So I mean, you have plenty of quarterbacks who've done, who have done things like that. Collins. I mean, they're quarterbacks. If every professional quarterback is capable of doing that. My whole argument is, how good or how great would he be? How would he have been, or how would we be looking at him today if he didn't have those pieces around him? Now, I'm going to tell you something. Now, I will argue that Joe Montana is the greatest quarterback ever, along maybe Tom Brady a close second. But the greatest
Don't you ever put Tom Brady and swear at me with that name again.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish.
See, it sounds like to me you just are a Tom Brady hater. Oh, my gosh.
You must be a Redskin fan.
I am kidding as I say that. I'm having fun with this.
You must be a Redskin fan. Good luck this year.
I'm a 49er fan in 1981.
Ooh.
I wasn't born. I wasn't even born in '81.
Look, I know I'm old, okay, but I know greatness, and Montana was all of that for me.
But let me ask you this.
I'm originally from Chicago.
Okay.
And I've been chastised by a lot of people in Chicago for not being a Bears fan. When Montana hit Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone to defeat the Cowboys and Everson Walls, he sold me for life. Let me just put it out there.
Let me first thank you and the Windy City for Wilbur Marshall. We love him.
Yes.
But I would have to say that there's another great quarterback out there that's not recognized for his greatness because he doesn't have the rings. There's one quarterback out there that's great. Everywhere he's been, he's produced.
And that name?
I'm going to let you take a shot at it. It's only one.
My question again, is he currently active?
Yes, he is.
He is? Then that name to me, let's see if we're thinking along the same lines. That name would be Drew Brees.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. That's a great quarterback. Without the rings.
Drew Brees was good in San Diego, but when he got to New Orleans, he got better. And I spoke of this briefly on my show. Brees, and you're absolutely right, does not get the credit he deserves for not only reviving a team, but reviving a city that was coming out of the midst of tragedy.
Yes. He definitely has, but it's unfortunate. But it's just that, getting back to OBJ, I like the guy. I think the guy is great. I'm just trying to figure out how do you drop $95 million on a wide receiver, and he definitely just got hurt last year. I'm not saying the kid ain't great.
Well, it's going to be up to OBJ to prove himself now. He lobbied. He played. He made some catches. The Giants did what they're supposed to do. Now OBJ's got to supposed to.
But see, you know what? It's not the $95 million that concerns me. It's the $65 million that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, I would give
a lot of guaranteed money.
I would give him $95 million, but how much would I have guaranteed him? 30, 35, $65 million guaranteed.
I'll say it again. Now it's time for OBJ. I keep mixing up those letters. Doggone it, I've been around kids all day. For OBJ to step up and do what he needs to do. And speaking of kids, I got to get ready for a high school football game that I have tonight. Yeah. But I just had to come on and mess with y'all about that Montana discussion. But yeah, I'll leave you with this point. The most underrated quarterback and unappreciated quarterback is Drew Brees.
Yes.
We agree. Callers, we'll be with you in a second. I know we got a couple of callers on the line. We'll be right with you.
Right with you. Thank you for calling in, Mr. Snow.
I appreciate y'all having me. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Now, I just want to say one thing. OBJ, $65 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should have cut my beard off first, but I think my mother said she met him some years ago. Could he possibly be my daddy?
I have no idea, but it looks like we definitely got a second caller. Let's see what's going on.
65
Caller, you're
million.
live.
Hey, what's up, brother? I totally agree with you about that 95 mil. I'm a die-hard Giants fan, and I thought we were going to get rid of him this year.
Wow.
Why would you say that?
Because we need the cap space. We definitely need the cap space. We need a secondary. We need a backfield, and a lot of that drama, as you said, he was hurt. So we don't have 100%. I mean, even if you look at the receptions last year, it wasn't the greatest thing that he's ever done. This guy, I mean, it's just been a clogged sink since he's been there. The first year was awesome, but now it's just like a clogged sink.
But you got to understand the management side of it. If you get rid of him,
right,
you're not selling jerseys.
I mean, the Mars got plenty of money. We get it, but there's a change of guard right now when you look at the Giants. We have a whole different offensive coaching staff. We have a whole different defensive coaching staff. And when you look at what's left there, that component has not been consistent. Being that I'm a number one die-hard Giants fan, but I think that this year, it shouldn't have went to the point where we wasted 95 mil because it wasn't worth the 65.
Well, yeah, and he was like part of the reason why I had a problem with OBJ getting all that money. First off, you're paying $95 million first off to one guy, 65 of that guarantee, so your cap space is going to be really high. Then you decided to keep Eli Manning instead of just making the guy retire because, in my opinion, with Eli Manning, he's not the same Eli we once was. Now, he was getting killed last year, no thanks to that offensive line, but the Giants stole my Patriots left tackle, Nate Solder, over there. So now Eli got somebody to protect his blind side. But then the problem...
Eli, I'm going to tell you this about Eli Manning. This is the year that they need to really start to invest in a quarterback. This is why that 95 mil was a waste, because we need to start investing in. This guy is still backpedaling and going backwards. And I love my team, but I mean, he's still in the same position. When you put him on the line, he does not know how to read anymore, and he doesn't have the moves. So I'm saying to put all that money into a wide receiver where we have a decent core, we really don't. I mean, everybody's double teaming him right now. So I say for this, and to kind of like free up your line, at the end of the day, this was a bad move. And like, with the NFL period, they're just picking stuff. It seems like they're just filling slots just so that they can keep their teams in a position where their caps are good next year and they can get a pick. Because even if you look at it, I'm from Jersey, but I look at the Redskins. The Redskins basically, every year, you look at Adrian Peterson. Why would you do that?
Well, you go get Adrian Peterson because you need that veteran on the sideline or in the backfield to show these younger running backs how it should be done. The work ethic, how to read the line, the holes and everything. These young, they should have got Adrian Peterson 2 years ago. They should have got him 2 years ago. Now, caller, I may rub you the wrong way about your Giants, but let me just say this: yes, you all do need a quarterback. I don't know how you let Bridgewater leave that state.
I know, man. It's like you're saying, it's management. That would have been a great fit.
Yeah, it would have, because you do need a quarterback. But this is the thing. The Giants organization, to me, at this point, with investing so much money in OBJ, the only thing that they're seeing right now is relevance. We want to be relevant in the market, in the TV market. We want to be relevant in sales. The Giants are not ready to win. I don't think that...
They're not. I see it for the 8-8 season this year.
8-8?
And that's pulling.
Man, you must.
Pulling.
If you plan on being 8-8, you must go play the Maryland Terps 8 times. That's how you gonna win 8 games. You'd be lucky if you win 1, and that'll probably be against the Redskins because they just can't.
I'm calling 8-8. You must be a Philly fan, man.
No, I'm a Redskins fan. Yeah, I'm a Redskins fan.
You're looking at 6-10, man.
Hey, call it how you see it, man. You know, I mean, things could go 6-10, but I'm looking at if people stay healthy, the Redskins could possibly go 11-5.
I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. I don't see it. But man, y'all guys are doing a great job, man. Continue to keep doing what you're doing, man. Great show, bro.
Hey, thanks for calling.
All right.
And folks, we actually ran over a little bit of time, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go have some more crazy stuff to talk to you guys about. So don't go anywhere on the No BS show.
It's going to get crazy?
It is.
Oh, man, let me...
When's the last time someone said thanks for checking over your shoulder before changing lanes? Or gave you a pat on the back for sticking to the speed limit? Or a thumbs up for not tailgating? Probably never. Which is too bad, considering safe drivers make the roads safer for everyone. That's why Allstate appreciates safe drivers like no one else. And they show it by saving you 45% or more, along with giving you safe driving bonus checks, deductible rewards, and extra discounts with the DriveWise app. So the next time you come to a complete stop in an intersection, ask yourself, why haven't I switched to Allstate?
The Brandeo Insurance Group, your local DMV Allstate agent, can help you save 45% or more for driving safely. Call him at 410-424-0844 and get a quote today.
It pays to drive safely. Call a local Allstate agent today and find out how you can save 45% or more. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
We're back. We got to talk about this. Is it about this guy right up above me, Mr. Unregulated?
Hey, let me just say this.
Take it away.
Baltimore, you've won the battle of between DC and Baltimore. You all got the best mumbo sauce. Okay. Now you got the best quarterback part that you can possibly have on your roster, RG3. The only problem with that is he probably won't see the field in the regular season, which means your season is pretty much down the drain. I see 5-11 Baltimore. That's the one thing that Washington will overtake Baltimore this year. The Redskins' record will actually be better than the Baltimore Ravens' record. But hey, I'm on my way up there. I'm gonna get some of those chicken wings. I'm gonna get some of that mumbo sauce today.
Do you really just said? He just said that. He really just said the Baltimore Ravens are gonna be fine. You are so disrespectful.
Disrespectful?
The Ravens are not going 5-11. They're not gonna go that far. I don't believe that the Ravens are gonna go 5-11.
Tell me why not.
Okay, first off, let's talk about this. If Flacco plays, because he's going to want to show up, and let me tell you why he's going to show up. He's not going to let Lamar Jackson take his spot. Because Ozzie Newsome, we all know why Ozzie drafted him with that 32nd pick of the draft, if everybody watched that draft. Because this is Ozzie's last pick, because you know he's retiring this year. Okay? Ozzie didn't pick Lamar just to pick him. He picked him because he's like, no, this kid's going to be the future, and he's going to be the guy to replace Flacco. And Flacco's like, no, I'm not going to allow you to take my spot. So therefore, I think the Ravens will probably be 10-6. I don't think they'll make the playoffs because the AFC this year, and I've said, and everybody thinks I'm crazy. If a lot of these teams stay healthy, it's going to be very competitive in the AFC this year. I think it's going to take a little more than 10 wins for teams to even make the wild card this season. That's how competitive I believe the AFC is going to be this year. Because the Ravens right now, when you look at the state of the AFC North, the only team they really have to really even deal with is Pittsburgh. That's it. And right now, they got a contract problem with Le'Veon Bell. They got a contract problem because, you know, Le'Veon's like, well, if I ain't getting my cheese, I guess I'm not playing. So that's going to be that's a problem within itself. And then let's also look at the facts of the matter is this. Pittsburgh doesn't even know what Big Ben want to do because Big Ben don't know if he want to play football anymore. I don't know why, but it's Big Ben. And so right now, the Ravens right now, if I'm them, I would keep RG3 on the roster because you're going to need to carry 3 quarterbacks because I'm sorry, in this day and age, if you carry 2, unless you know that quarterback usually does not get hurt, carrying three quarterbacks might be the best thing, especially since you play in the Rough Rider division. Come on now, the AFC North is rough and tough. Okay, you guys see the Steelers, the Ravens, and even the Bengals defense. The Bengals defense has been good for years now. The problem is they just can't get past their own way, and as far as their offense is concerned. And then let's also look at the fact the Browns. Yes, they were 0-16, but they are a lot more talented this year. So, having said that, I don't believe the Ravens are going to be that bad. 5-11, I think that's pushing it.
Are we talking about the same Joe Flacco?
Yes.
We're talking about the Joe Flacco who had a defense behind him for his entire time in Baltimore that basically won games. Are we talking about the Joe Flacco that throws the ball 6 yards down the field and his receivers turn it into 40 yards? I mean, Joe Flacco is a game manager. Does he have the tools around him this year to actually to do what he did
but
2-3 years ago? I don't think so. I think Joe Flacco
Joe Flacco was literally a game away from the playoffs last year, but the only reason why they lost because the defense gave up all those yards to Andy Dalton. That's the only reason why he didn't make the playoffs last year, and that wasn't Joe Flacco's fault. Joe Flacco put them in the position. The defense just faltered last year. So that's actually, we can have this argument all day.
I think we're giving Joe Flacco too much of a, he's not, I don't even think, so Joe Flacco, Alex Smith, who you take?
I'm taking Joe Flacco.
You take Joe Flacco over Alex just because he got a ring?
It's not because he got a ring. Joe Flacco and Alex Smith, to me, are the same quarterback. The only difference between Joe Flacco and Alex Smith is that Joe Flacco clearly got the ring 1 and 2. He has a better defense. But they're basically the same quarterback to me. They're both game managers. They both do the same things. Alex Smith, to me, is not an elite quarterback. He's a mediocre quarterback that just happened to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, who usually has a great line.
Well, I take Alex Smith because at least Alex Smith can run a little bit. Joe Flacco is like a toothpick that stands back there. And
he doesn't run like he used to, but but everybody forget that his very rookie year, he definitely ran like 70 yards, longer than most of these active quarterbacks today outside of Cam Newton.
He was running for his life.
He wasn't running for his life. That was a design play. Everybody saw that.
You run 70 yards too if you got 300-pound guys chasing you. Who was it against? Was it against Detroit? Did he throw suits behind him?
Nah, that was, if I recall correctly, I couldn't remember who that was. I want to say it was the Panthers, I believe. It was a long run.
Well, RG3 will probably never see the field in Baltimore.
He won't.
What I think is happening right now is that RG3 will probably be traded, and if Baltimore
get some value, right?
Yeah, if Baltimore is smart, they would probably trade RG3 for a couple of picks. And the teams that I looked at and I saw that, and I seen that RG3 may be a good fit for is a team like Chicago. Chicago definitely needs a quarterback.
But they got Mitch Trubisky, so
who?
They still got Mitch Trubisky, man. You know.
And RG3 will go there right now and be the starting quarterback for them.
He's not going to be the starting quarterback.
They
wasted a first round pick on that kid. They're not going to do that.
The Cowboys need a quarterback.
Cowboys ain't going to do that either because they wasted come on, they're not going to start. They're not going to start him over Dak Prescott. That's just not going to happen.
You don't see the storyline.
I see the storyline. He's just not going to happen.
He's coming back home.
RG3 has to go to a team where he's going to be for sure the starter. The only teams right now where he would be for sure the starter is if he went to the Bills, because I'm sorry, the Bills ain't got no quarterback. I don't trust Josh Allen. I think he's trash.
But you got to give Josh Allen a couple of years before you even think about.
I'm going to give him a year. I still think he's going to be trash because, I'm sorry, you're playing in the AFC East because, I'm sorry, Todd Bowles, everybody doesn't give him a lot of credit, but as a head coach, the Jets' defense has actually been pretty decent. They haven't been a bad team. The problem is they don't have an offense. That's the reason why they can't get out of the AFC East. They have to see New England twice a year, but that defense is usually not that bad. Now, the Dolphins, they trash, especially since they got rid of Jarvis Landry and Ryan Tannehill. He doesn't know who he is yet until he finds out who he is. He doesn't know if he wants to be a wide receiver, he wants to be a quarterback.
I like Tannehill better than I like Trubisky.
Yeah, but Tannehill's also been in the league for a long time.
Yeah, but why can't RG3 go to Chicago?
Because Mr. Trubisky's only in his second year. And on top of that, the team wasn't actually a bad team. I mean, yeah, they were 3-13. They were horrible as far as record is concerned. But Mr. Trubisky wasn't a bad quarterback. He finally showed some flashes in the latter part of the season, especially when Jordan Howard was going off. So it's very obvious that the running game is working for them. So the issue comes down to is this. If RG3 goes to the Bears, then I hate to say this, you got to see Minnesota twice. Let's be honest. RG3 can't stay healthy because them knees is like toothpicks, okay? Then the second thing, look, I'm telling the truth. His knees is like toothpicks. You might as well not even put the boy on the field. And on top of that, the way Minnesota plays defense, did you not see what they did last year to all those teams? The only team that they got smacked by happened to be the Eagles, who were the Super Bowl champions in the NFC Championship game. Yep. That was the only team they really got smacked by. Other than that, you really think for a second that if he goes to the Bears, and then did you not see what happened to Aaron Rodgers, which we'll talk about later on in the show? But did you not see that contract extension by Aaron Rodgers? You really think for a second that he gonna have a chance in that division? No.
Let's tackle the Minnesota issue first. There's also a storyline there too.
There is.
Now, if he goes to Chicago, I would not fear Minnesota. Why? Because he's going to be on that field to prove that he's the better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. So Minnesota, I mean, you can say that what Minnesota will do and what they won't do. If RG3 is in Chicago and they're playing Minnesota, I'm gonna put my money on RG3 because he got something to prove.
I'm sure he does have something to prove. Still ain't gonna do nothing in that division. He's just not. Look, I understand. It's wishful thinking. I get it. We all love.
Look at this guy. Rookie. Look at his rookie season. Look at what he's done before the injury.
You're right. You're right.
World-class speed.
You're right. In his rookie season, he went 9-6, and then but the Redskins finished 10-6. They made the playoffs. But then what happened? He got knocked out, and then next thing you know, a year 2 comes around. How many games did y'all win that year? That was a really bad year.
You can't put that on RG3. You can't put that on him. I put that on the coaching staff.
Oh, I put that on Mike Shanahan too. I'll be the first to tell you that.
I put that on the coaching staff. I'm glad they gave him the boot and got his butt up out of here.
Yeah, but then the problem was they still ended up getting rid of RG3 anyway. So that's the issue. That's why, and it's not like RG3 didn't have issues when he was with them, because the press conferences, calling out his linemen in front of the media. And this is the one thing I always say to guys in football. Yes, you can call out your linemen, but don't call them out in the media. Because once you call them out in the media, then guys are not going to want to block for you. Because I'm sorry, your roommate, when you called out your left tackle, which was Trent Williams, which we all know is one of the best all-pro left tackles in the league, you're going to call out Trent Williams? Mr. I will do anything to protect my quarterback himself. And then this man, because there was games I literally watched, and I said, especially that Broncos game, in his second season, when I saw Von Miller go to that side, I was like, he had to say something to Trent, and I said, Von Miller's about to come right in there, he's gonna smack the brakes off him, and I ended up being right. Von Miller had 2 sacks that game.
You can't expect Trent Williams to block Von Miller. Come on.
Yes, I can.
No, Trent Williams.
Yes, I sure can.
Trent is 320 pounds.
Yes, I sure can. Because you want to know why I can say that? Because the Patriots' offensive line definitely stopped Von Miller from getting sacks on Brady in the past. The only time they didn't stop him from getting sacks was in the AFC Championship game. So that right there, and mind you, the tackles we had at that time wasn't even as good as Trent Williams. So no, you can't say that.
We're talking about 2 different systems, and a running back that probably can block better than the running backs we had in our backfield. I don't know who the running back was, but what I'm saying is that if you put Von Miller up against anybody, the chances are 70-30 Von Miller's going to get to your quarterback.
Sure.
So Trent probably did the best that he could, but I wouldn't expect Trent Williams. He needs help, because Von Miller's going to give him one step here and go right around him, and if he doesn't have that running back or another tackle pulling to help him with that block, it's curtain. It's
either way, RG3 messed up his relationship when he was with the Skins. He did. End of story. There was nothing else about it. The kid had a lot of issues back then. Now he's older now, so he's gotten a lot more sense. So he knows how he has to be in this game. He understands that he has to be the veteran. He understands that he can't just do the things that he used to do. But at the end of the day, RG3 is RG3 now. I mean, when he was with the Browns, I was like, dang, this guy could actually get this team, to win some games. But then when he got hurt, I said, well, that's the end of that. I said to people, you went to the division that is the Rough Rider division. I always have said this for the longest time, that the AFC North, to me, is arguably the toughest division in NFL football today. Because those teams, they always usually have 3 teams in the top 10 of defense. And for some strange reason, anybody who walks onto that field with them, somebody's getting hurt. I mean, look at the Bengals. Mr. Vontaze Burfict himself, okay? When you play Pittsburgh, if there's a God willing, Ryan Shazier comes back this year from his neck injury. But when Ryan Shazier, you got Lawrence Timmons, and then you had James Harrison coming off the edge. I mean, come on, bruh. And then let's just look at the Ravens. C.J. Mosley, T. Sizzle. I mean, it's just almost utterly ridiculous. You can't mess with those teams that got a front 7 like that. You just can't. And the Browns now, their front 7 now is a lot better. They just ain't got no secondary. Their secondary is trash. But
so, what is the future for RG3? Will he ever start again in the NFL? Or will he have to go to a team
that... I don't think he'll be a career backup. I think he could get a starting job somewhere. He just needs to be with a team that it really needs a quarterback. And a lot of teams right now don't need a quarterback outside of the Cardinals and the Bills. Now, they drafted a quarterback, but those are the only teams I could see.
But there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. They have quarterbacks, but it just don't seem to be working out. Jacksonville needs a quarterback.
I can't say that. Blake Bortles is not.
To get rid of him. It's time.
It may be time for to get rid of Blake Bortles, but let's not fake and act like Blake Bortles is like a complete bum. He's not a complete bum, but do I think he's like the guy that's going to get you over the hump? No, but I definitely believe that Blake Bortles is a starter somewhere.
I don't think so. I just think because of his draft position is why he's still where he's at. Because Plus,
on top of that, he did have great receivers. He did have Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, and in that one year, he threw 35 touchdowns. I mean, them two were lighting it up that year. And then, of course, unfortunately, they got hurt. And, well, they had an okay running back at the time. They didn't have Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette wasn't even in the league at that time. So, at that time, they had, not T.J. Yeldon. They had somebody. They had Maurice Jones-Drew. They had MJD. He had MJD back then, and it is what it is. So that's why it's like Blake Bortles. He's not bad. I think to me, he reminds me a lot of Matthew Stafford. Remember Matthew Stafford when he first came in the league? He used to think that he was a gunslinger, and then all of a sudden, he was like, "Oh, I don't need no quarterback coach." But as soon as he got with Jim Caldwell, who everybody knows, the very year that the Ravens went to the Super Bowl, Jim Caldwell was coaching them. So I said to people, clearly the guy knows what he's doing. And all of a sudden, Matthew Stafford today, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes anymore. He doesn't. His defense is trash. But anyways,
it's hard to compare him to Stafford. I can't.
Yeah. Well, Stafford hasn't gotten to the place. He just hasn't done anything. But at least Blake Bortles, he just went to the AFC Championship last year. So I mean, I'm just saying. Only the reason why he lost last year because he didn't keep his foot on the gas along with his coaches. But anyway, folks, in the interest of time, we're going to move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about these Patriots wide receivers. We got to talk about the Patriots wideouts.
Do they have any?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
I mean, with the Patriots organization, they bring in no names and make them stars. I mean, it's amazing. It's unbelievable what they do with the talent that they get. The 6th-round draft picks.
Hey, go ahead and hit it for me. One more time? Go ahead and hit that for me one more time and put the names up there. We got Chris Hogan, we got Dorsett, and we got Cordero Patterson. Those are the Patriots receivers this year. Okay, that's gonna be the starters for the first couple of games, because you got to remember Julian Edelman. I didn't put him up here for a reason, because Julian Edelman spent the first 4 games, so it's not going to really make a difference right now. So right now, these are the guys that everybody's going to have to look out for. Now, the only one out of these guys, the only 2 out of these 3, I think is going to do some ridiculous damage is definitely going to be Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett. Because Patterson, he'll be used for the return game or the screen game. That's what he'll get used for. Because even though we got running backs, but the fact that Cordero Patterson, he's 6'2", like 228 pounds, but he runs a 4.3, so he's fast. Philip Dorsett ran a 4.28 in the combine. We all saw that. He was fast. He was one of the fastest receivers. He actually was drafted first round 2 years ago by the Colts. But we traded for him. Now he's with New England. And I know why New England picked him up. New England picked him up because he's fast, and on top of that, he can run the heck out of routes. That's what we like. Like, New England likes route runners. Chris Hogan does the same thing. He's a big guy, and he's fat, and he's actually pretty fast. Ran a 4.48. Doesn't look like it, but he's a fast kid.
What's the background on Dorsett? Because when I look at this, when I see the name of Dorsett,
Philip Dorsett, no, he's not related to Tony Dorsett. Because I definitely thought I actually went and dug deep on that. He's not related to Tony, but Philip went to the University of Miami, the Hurricanes, so he was really good there. He had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons there, and that was the reason why the Colts picked him up, because he was a speedster. He could get separation. It didn't matter who jammed him. He found a way to get separation because he's like a young Deshaun Jackson. You remember when Deshaun Jackson first came into the NFL with the Eagles? He was frying. Kid was small, but he was fast, really fast.
Are you saying that this kid right here is? His speed is like Deshaun Jackson, or his performance, what he will do is going to be like Deshaun Jackson?
I would say his speed is and his route running is like Deshaun. But can he perform like him? We don't know that yet because we have to see what he's going to do this season. Because the past couple of years, he couldn't do anything for the Colts because, let's be honest, the Colts quarterback situation was terrible. So how can you really see what the kid could really do unless he actually had a really decent quarterback? That was part of the issue. So, but with Tom Brady, let's be honest, he's definitely going to fry. He has to. Because the thing is, in the Super Bowl, if you look what happened in the Super Bowl, when we had Brandon Cooks, he was clearly burning the brakes off of that Eagles defense. Part of the reason why they lost was because even though Malcolm Butler didn't play, but New England still had a chance, but then Brandon Cooks, he got knocked out by Malcolm Jenkins, and then that was the end of that. And so, unfortunately, there was nothing anybody else can do, and then they had to rely on guys who couldn't get that much separation against that defense because that pass rush was so heavy. Now, granted, they only had 1 sack in the Super Bowl, but needless to say, having that speedy receiver definitely helps. Even though Brady still threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl, but probably could have thrown for more if he was doing that.
I may have a new favorite wide receiver because if this guy is anything like Deshaun Jackson, then I'm definitely going to follow him. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to root and I'm going to chant Dorsett, 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 Dorsett. I'm going to chant it.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna follow him this year. And I wouldn't put it past the New England organization to see some type of greatness in him because that's what they do.
Yeah,
that's what they do. They find people. Their scout team has to probably be the best in the NFL.
It is.
It has to be.
It's one of the best
because they find people, and the next thing you know, pow! This guy is the best at this position, or this guy's a Pro Bowler, or this guy is so productive on the field. Whereas though everybody else just thought, well, this would probably be his last season in the NFL, and then up comes New England. Whether you got some management, whether you're hard to manage, or you're buried on the end of the bench, undrafted, drafted late.
Mm-hmm.
When New England calls, there's something there.
Yes,
I give that organization big ups and big props.
Yeah. In the interest of time, folks, we're actually gonna move on from this topic and move on to the next, because there's something that's been heavily on my brain today.
Well, Shane, what's on your brain? Tell me. Madden 19.
The sadness that happened in Jacksonville. So everybody knows what happened in Jacksonville by now. If you don't know, there was an active shooter that went into a Madden tournament, and unfortunately some lives were lost during that active shooter incident. But since then, EA Sports has suspended all of their all of the remaining qualifiers for Madden until then. And it's really kind of sad because like with EA Sports, I mean everybody knows like they just, you know, you got these kids who just come here to play a sports game based on what's going on in today's, you know, NFL. Because that's one thing I have to give to the NFL is like they're able to pump up the stats into the Madden, and these kids are able to play. And these kids don't just play for just, you know, props. They play for money. Like there's money involved with this. Like, you know, like a couple years ago they had a Madden gamer where he had to play on the big jumbotron in New York City, and then the Madden gamer who won got like $100,000. So there's money involved in this, and now unfortunately kids can't even you know, play like they used to. And unfortunately, you know, there were some players who reacted to that senseless act, especially the Jacksonville Jaguars team, because it happened, you know, in Jacksonville, you know, and it's really been sad. And then you just say to yourself, what is this gonna be like going forward for future Madden gamers? You know, because the truth is, Madden has already started saying that they're gonna start implementing more security measures. They're going to start doing all these different things, and because they want to make sure the players are safe while they're playing these video games. What's your thoughts?
You know what? I got a thought that people who understand it will agree with it, and the people who don't understand it is going to just think I'm crazy. But before I do that, I just wanted to say that I think the reports of the shooter was that he was eliminated from the tournament. So he probably was upset about him being eliminated or how that went. But when we talk about what's next and how the security and the things that will be put in place by EA Sports, we're talking about it's already bad for us as a culture. So when we talk about putting things in place for security measures, now the shooter was, I believe, Caucasian, correct?
He was a Caucasian man from Baltimore, Maryland.
But watch this. It's going to hurt us because they're going to put things in place that are going to be not it's going to be geared towards us, but you'll never know it because it's in the background. But once they start saying before you can enter the EA Sports competition, we must do a background check. Now, I'm the best EA Sports player in the world. If you do a background check on me, I can't play. See, this is how society runs. People do things are put in place, and it hurts it hurts a large percentage of the or community, of the public or community. And this right here, I mean, it's sad to say that I see it hurting us or hurting anyone who has a criminal background history.
Yeah, because, and of course they claimed that he was mentally ill, but yet and still he went and bought the firearms right here in Maryland. And if anybody knows anything about Maryland, Maryland has almost the strictest gun laws in the United States. The only state that has more stricter gun laws than Maryland is California. That's the only other state, and that's mainly because they had too many issues way back with assault rifles, especially the assault rifle incident where those guys robbed that bank and then they shot down the helicopter with an AK-47. So with that being said, it comes down to this. I hope in the future we don't see this again, and I hope that, you know, future Madden gamers are able to continue to enjoy themselves at an event where, you know, football brings everybody together, even in gaming. You know, how is it? You know, that's how things go. But it's sad that happened.
I think that can happen. You know, when it comes to sports and music, it brings people together. But to stop these these shootings, what do we have to do? There's only one solution, and that one solution can backfire because then you have shootouts. But if Everybody should be able to bear arms, as the Constitution says. I mean, whether it's concealed or whatever the case may be. If everyone has arms on them, or people suspect that, that a large percentage of the people in this mall or in this gaming place is strapped, strapped or armed, then maybe these active shooters won't go in doing these things, because they know that, okay, if I go in, it's probably going to be 15 bullets coming my way.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, that sounds like an option, but do we really want 15 other people shooting in the direction of an active shooter who may have 25 behind them?
True.
I mean, this is a subject that,
it is.
I don't know what the solution is.
Exactly.
And any solution that we come up with is probably going to have its backfall from it.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all these crazy extensions and signings of these players. So don't go anywhere in the No BS show.
EA Sports is in the game.
It's the new, all-natural, family-friendly pharmacy, Family Choice Pharmacy, located at 8313 Annapolis Road, New Carrollton, Maryland. Family Choice offers alternative medicines as well as discount programs you can easily enjoy. Come be a part of our family at Family Choice Pharmacy, as every family should know their pharmacist. If you're looking to join the family today, you can reach us at 301-577-1212 at Family Choice Pharmacy.
If you like to roller skate, you will love Lanham Skate Center. We offer all kinds of specials, birthday parties, skate classes, and more. You can even reserve the rink for a special event. Skate rentals only $3, so roll on over to Lanham Skate Center today. Located at 9901 Lanham Severn Road in Lanham, Maryland. For more information about our weekly schedule, visit us on the web at lanhamskatecenter.com or call for more information at 301-577-1733. That's 301-577-1733.
And we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about all these nice little contract extensions that everybody's getting. So OBJ clearly got 95 mil, 65 guaranteed. But that wasn't the one that really jumped out at me. Because, see, Shaq Mason, he got his $50 million deal. Adrian Peterson signed with the Skins. That was probably a good move. But then the one that really jumps out at me the most is how in the world did Aaron Rodgers get $134 million with 80 guaranteed? $80 million guaranteed money. Let me ask you this. Yeah, go ahead and unbutton the shirt. Go ahead and unbutton it. Take the glasses off.
Is that my daddy?
I'm trying to understand.
80 million?
80 million guaranteed money.
Oof.
Are these players deserving of it?
Well, you know what? Yes. Because if the program, the organization, or the owners can afford to pay them, I'm sure that they're getting probably double or triple the amount that they're paying their max player. So I mean, I don't think it's a concern. I don't think that the big business or the ownership should have a surplus of 300 million and only pay out 50.
Yeah.
I mean, the players are what's making you the money. So you got to pay the players. They're the ones out there taking the risk. They're the ones getting injured. And I mean, so yeah, I mean, now should he have gotten $80 million at this point in his career? Probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
I said the same thing because I'm like, this is the man who y'all literally, he got hurt last year. You brought him back from injury so you could see if you could get it to the playoffs. Then y'all lost. Then you put him back on injured reserve, which by the way, it's a violation of the of the NFL CBA, because you can't do that. You can't put a guy on IR one part of the season and all of a sudden you take him off and put him back on for one game. Can't do that. And it's actually in the CBA. But, however, the problem that's the issue with this whole situation is, this is the thing that's been bothering me. It's when I'm like, so then who's gonna pay his receivers? Because we all know Aaron Rodgers doesn't do well when his receivers ain't that great. It's very obvious. They added Jimmy Graham, but Devontae Adams, I don't trust that kid yet. And Randall Cobb, it was very obvious that once Jordy Nelson got hurt, how good he really was. Now Jordy Nelson's with the Raiders.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is what I see. I see the Green Bay Packers paying Aaron Rodgers because they feel like they failed Brett Favre. I think this is a move to solidify Aaron Rodgers as their greatest quarterback.
But they pushed out Brett Favre to get Aaron Rodgers to begin with.
And they feel bad about it. So now, in order for them to have a quarterback that's going to be their own, we have to pay him. We have to keep him here. And once he's gone, we have to keep him around and out in this organization. So I just think that's what it is. I mean, I don't know. How much is that? Is $80 million guaranteed?
$80 million guaranteed money.
Thank you, Mr. Rodgers, for your service.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't believe in giving so much money to a quarterback that's constantly getting hurt. See, guys, if you would have said this to me about Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning when he was in the NFL, I wouldn't even thought about it. Not a quarterback who's shown that he didn't even just get hurt once. He got hurt twice in his whole career. He got hurt last year, and then a couple years ago, the year they went 8-7-1, they got hurt. Now they still ended up making the playoffs, some weird way, shape, or form. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't trust a guy who stays hurt. I don't. But I will. But in Aaron Rodgers' defense, he doesn't have a great offensive line. His offensive line has been trash for years. In fact, his offensive line is usually ranked like 25 and below. Usually.
So I guess you're saying the offensive line is some trash. You're being nice.
Yeah, I'm just being nice.
Yeah, anybody got some spray? Because I guess the word that he's looking for was going to require some spray around the room.
Yeah, because I'm sorry. The thing is I always say to people, like, Aaron Rodgers always got to run for his life, and it's a good thing that he got legs. Because if he didn't have legs, you and I would be having a whole different conversation right now.
Well, I don't know how good his legs are anymore.
Right.
So
it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time, and it was great talking to you guys today. Thank you for everybody who called in today, and shout out to all the people who was commenting on Facebook. So I want you guys to go to the No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk Show viewer group, and then I want you to follow our blog on Blogger. It's going to be the No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk.blogspot.com. Then follow me on social media at Shane. Insane _ Shane29, Underground SB29 on Twitter, Shiz _29, and No BS No Holds Barred on Instagram at Underground Sports LLC.blogspot.com. And then follow me on Facebook at Shane Hector. Mr. Unregulated, your social media, sir?
My social media is Dana Tinnen. That's on Facebook. And on Instagram, FatherDaddy3. With that being said, thank you all for joining us.
No BS is out of the building. Oh, and one last thing. If you want to advertise with us, email me at undergroundsportsllc@gmail.com. Mr. Unregulated, take us out.
Great riddance, Batman.
Peace.